A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I want A+ English because it's so much fun. English education for you and everyone, so come along. Learn some grammar, learn a phrase, learn something new every day. Learn the A+ way. Hey, it's time to start the show. Are you ready? Good, 'cause here we go. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I want A+ English.
Hi everybody, welcome to A+ English. I'm Kat.
And I'm Mike.
And today we're talking a bit about being sick.
Getting sick and getting sick enough to go to the doctor.
Right. Have you been sick enough to go to the doctor recently?
I've been, not recently, no.
That's good.
That is good. I should knock on wood or do something to give myself better luck. But it does happen. I'd say with myself, around once a year, I get a good cold. But I would rarely visit a doctor because of a cold. I don't think it's that serious.
Right. I usually, if it's up to me, I will also not visit a doctor because of a cold. But I often have, my girlfriend always says, you need to go to the doctor and get medicine. So then I just do it to please her.
Yeah. And that's kind of what we're going to be talking about, because there are different cultures around visiting the doctor. The way people do it here in Taiwan would be different, you'd notice, if you went overseas. So, we're going to be looking at some of the differences between going to the doctor in different countries and also how people see that when they visit new countries.
Right. Okay. So let's go ahead and check out our article today.
Culture shock!
A visit to the doctor.
Simon is in bed. Lucia comes into the room.
Simon, time to get up for work.
Lucia looks closely. Simon does not look well.
Are you okay?
I'm feeling a little iffy. I think I have the lurgy.
You'd better see a doctor.
They are at a hospital. They both have masks on.
First, you need to fill out a new patient form. Do you have any allergies?
In the UK, I got hay fever in the summer.
What are your symptoms now?
I feel terrible. My nose is running, and I keep sneezing.
Lucia writes that down. They finish the form.
You can give the form to the doctor.
They walk to a large screen in front of her doctor's room.
Put your health insurance card in here. That tells the doctor you're here. Now, we just have to wait.
Simon goes into the doctor's office when his number comes up. Later, Simon comes out of the doctor's office.
Well?
The doctor said I have a cold.
Okay, let's go and pay.
Huh? Word power!
Doctor. Doctor. I fell down yesterday and had to see a doctor. I fell down yesterday and had to see a doctor. Form. Form. Please take this form and answer the questions on it. Please take this form and answer the questions on it. Terrible. Terrible. I didn't come to work yesterday because I felt terrible. I didn't come to work yesterday because I felt terrible. Cold. Cold. Rachel sounds different today because she's not feeling well. She has a cold. Rachel sounds different today because she's not feeling well. She has a cold.
认识字汇
Symptom Health insurance.
Okay, so today we have our couple as usual, Simon and Lucia, in our Culture Shock article. We've got Simon from the UK and Lucia from Taiwan, so they've got a bunch of different cultures mixed in. But today it looks like Simon is not feeling that well because right now he's in bed. Lucia comes in the room. She says, "Simon, time to get up for work," and he just says, "Oh."
Ooh, so he makes that sound URGGH, which is kind of like that, or you know, that kind of sound you make when you're not feeling good, when someone asks you to do something and you're just not in the mood, you're not ready, you just want them to go away and life, just leave me alone. So Simon is not the kind of guy who jumps out of bed ready to go, at least not today. So there's something up with Simon. Well, as we move on, we see that it says Lucia looks closely. So she kind of walks over to the bed, maybe turns on the light or opens the curtain so she can see him a little bit better. And as she sees him, she doesn't like what she sees. Simon does not look well. So he's probably pale. Maybe his skin's almost a little green or something. He really doesn't look good. He's not looking healthy and fit and happy this morning. So before he says anything, Lucia asks him the question you ask when you want to make sure things are okay. You say, "Are you okay? Are you feeling okay? What's wrong?"
Oh my goodness. Well, she asks, "Are you okay?" Obviously he's not, but you know, it's good to ask anyway. So the article goes on with Simon saying, "I'm feeling a little iffy. I think I have the lurgy." Now this is, of course, Simon is British, so he's using some very, very British terms here. He's using some terms that maybe we in America and Canada wouldn't necessarily say. I think we would say iffy. But lurgy, I honestly did not know how to say before I asked the author how to say it, so that is not a word we use in the US.
No, this is not a common word at all.
Yeah, so what do they mean though? Iffy. If you say that you're feeling iffy or something is iffy, it means you're not feeling well, or you're looking at something that's a little bit not certain. You're not really sure about it. So if Simon says he's feeling iffy, that means he's not well. Or you could say it seems iffy whether or not Simon will go to work today because, you know, he might if he starts to feel better, or he really might not. We're not sure. It's iffy. Then we have lurgy, which is an illness or a bad feeling in your body. I think in the UK they say, "I've caught the dreaded lurgy." It's just a normal word for being sick, but not that sick. So if you were to say it in the US, you might say, "I caught a bug." Yeah.
Or just, "I'm feeling a little sick."
Right.
All right. So anyway, so obviously he's not very well. He looks sick. He's feeling sick. So they have to do something. So Lucia, well, she gives him her best advice. She says, "You'd better see a doctor." Yeah, sure. When you see someone and they look sick, your first reaction might be that they should go see a doctor. Maybe if you ask a few questions, or if they kind of really check how they feel, they might change their minds. But sure, if you're sick, if you're hurt, going to a doctor would be the natural thing. And it looks like Simon, as he hears her suggest that, and as he kind of goes, "Yeah, you know, my throat and my head, I feel like I'm hot," whatever, he nods unhappily, like, "Yeah, you're right, I'm gonna go see a doctor." Okay, so here we had better do something. Now, if you had better do something, basically the person who says that, "You had better, they're basically telling you what to do, or at least giving you strong advice. It's not an order, it's not a command. You can say no, but this is kind of what I think you should do.
Right.
And I'm telling you, I'm thinking it's a really good idea, not maybe you want to see a doctor. No, you had better. Like if I were you, if you want to be smart, go see that doctor.
I see. Okay. And what is this doctor they're talking about?
Yeah, well, that's a word power word, and also it's a good word to know if you're feeling sick or anything like that.
Yeah.
Doctor, it's a noun. D-O-C-T-O-R is how we spell the word doctor. Okay, a doctor, as I'm sure most of you know, is the type of person you'll go to see when you are feeling sick. There are actually many kinds of doctors, but here we're just talking about the ones we see when we're sick, the ones who might work in a clinic, work in a hospital. They put the letters DR in front of their name, Dr. Jones, Dr. Smith, and most of the doctors we would see would actually be technically an MD, a medical doctor. This is the first doctor you'd see. Oh, doctor, my thing hurts and I don't know what to do. And the doctor would probably test you, check a few things out, give you some medicine that should help you feel better, hopefully, in a few days. Now, if there's something serious, you might have that other doctor who kind of cuts you open and takes stuff out. That's a surgeon. That's another type of doctor. So generally, when we're thinking about the doctor in the white coat, in the clinic, who we see, who takes our temperature and gives us our medicine, that would be a medical doctor, but most of us just call him or her the doctor. For example, I fell down yesterday and had to see a doctor. I fell down yesterday and had to see a doctor, but don't worry, I'm okay. So that was Lucia's advice. You had better see a doctor from the sound that her friend made. I guess that's where they're going. And yes, it looks like we are now at a hospital on our way to see a doctor. Good.
Yeah. So Simon took her advice and they are at a hospital. They both got their masks on because people here, of course, usually wear a mask if they're feeling sick or if they don't want to get sick from somebody else.
Right.
Yeah. So Lucia says, first, you need to fill out a new patient form. All right, so what do we got to do when we go to the hospital? We got to fill something out. So fill out here is a phrasal verb where it's like putting information on a form. So fill out and form often go together. We're going to learn about form in just a second, but putting your information down where it's asked for. Like if it says name, you write your name. Says ID number, write your ID number, so on and so on. Now we're going to talk about this vocab word form, which is a noun spelled F-O-R-M, form. Let's find out what that is. Okay, so a form is a piece of paper or something on a screen, like you could have it on a computer too, with places to put the information that's being asked for. So you might need forms for lots of different things. You might need a form for a doctor visit, especially if you are a new patient and you're going to the doctor for the first time, you need to tell them about yourself. Or if you're trying to get a bank account, you will need to put down your information and write down your name and things like that. Any different thing like getting a driver's license, if you want to get a job, you need to fill out an application form, which is to apply for the job, and so on and so on. You've probably already filled out a lot of forms in your life, or your parents have done that for you. They're really, really common. All right, here's an example sentence. Please take this form and answer the questions on it. Please take this form and answer the questions on it. Right, so Lucia's got this form. She's bringing it to Simon to fill out because it's his first time at the hospital, I guess.
Yep, that sounds like it makes sense. Often when you do go to a hospital for the first time, they want that information, your name, your address, how old you are, but they'll probably also ask you more special questions about your health history. Are there medicines or foods you can't take? Do you have other problems like a heart problem? You know, stuff that doctors and nurses would need to know. So it's good to know that stuff. Your parents, as you mentioned, might be able to help too. So they fill out the form together, I guess, because Simon's too weak to write. I can't pick up the pen.
Or maybe his Chinese isn't good enough.
Or maybe his Chinese isn't good enough. Or maybe he doesn't know his own name. Anyways, Lucia then asks him one of those medical questions, one of those sort of, health and hospital questions. Do you have any allergies? Yeah, allergies, that's one of the common things that most forms at a clinic or hospital would ask you about. As I mentioned, there are people whose bodies are a little different, who can't take certain medicines, can't eat certain foods. And if you can't do that, if you do take one of those medicines or eat the food, your body will react in kind of a bad bad way. Like you'll eat it and suddenly your skin will get itchy or it'll be hard to breathe. Your face will swell up. You'll feel sick to your stomach. And it's just because you ate some peanuts or took a certain medicine or, got stung by a bee or something like that. So those are what we call allergies. And you would say, I am allergic to ... Are you allergic to anything?
Not as far as I know. I'm pretty lucky that way. How about you?
I am allergic to penicillin.
Really?
Which is one of the medicines I might get at a hospital. So I always tell doctors that. They always say, when did you have this reaction? When I was really little, I got sick. Took some penicillin because it's a very normal medicine to take, but then I got sicker. So that's why the doctors are like, you should be careful in the future. I've met other doctors who say, oh, it's common for kids to have that, but as you grow up, you might be okay. But anyways, to be safe, it's good to write down all of this information so doctors and nurses know exactly what they're dealing with. No one wants a surprise when they're in the hospital.
No, of course not. You have to tell them everything you can.
And now to learn more about sicknesses, let's go to Magic Box first.
Magic Box 找亮点。
I am sick. 天儿啊，我阿丁从一个穷小子变成王子，我这么努力，这么善良，还长得很帅，该不会我就活不过今天了？我身体这么不舒服。I have caught the flu. 我一定是得到流感了。流感太强烈，我看就连神灯也救不了我了。哇！哎呀，要讲说我不舒服，英文里面要怎么讲呢？你当然呢可以说 I am not feeling well. I don't feel good today. 我今天呢觉得不太舒服。但是啊，是哪里不舒服呢？今天我就要补充给你这些病痛的说法喽。你啊可以说 I am sick， 我生病了。什么样的病呢 ？OK， 很常见的咯，就是 I have a cold， 我着凉了，我感冒了，或是像我一样得到流感了。I caught a flu， 我得到流感了。得到感冒跟得到流感呢，我们可以搭配的动词呢是 have， 或者是呢 catch。而感冒会有哪些症状呢 ？You might have a runny nose。首先呢，你可能会流鼻水哦 ，runny nose。runny 呢就是形容流动的，所以流鼻水 runny nose。你啊可能还会怎么样？跟我一样咳嗽 cough。I coughed all night long。我整晚都在咳哦。还有这个单字sneeze 呢就是哈啾打喷嚏 I kept sneezing 我一直打喷嚏。注意到呢这两个字哦，咳嗽跟打喷嚏本身呢就是动词了，所以呢跟刚刚几个不一样，不用呢再另外搭配动词咯。你啊也可能会怎么样？发烧 You might also have a fever。 Fever 呢就是发烧了，或是呢头晕 I felt dizzy 呢就是晕眩哦，你可以搭配动词 feel 感觉到了，或是呢头晕再更严重一点，不止晕哦，还会痛啦。头痛呢我们就说 headache。 I've got a headache， 我头痛啦 OK， 这个字尾呢就是表示疼痛哦。除了呢 headache 头痛之外呢，你也可以怎么样 toothache 牙齿痛 stomachache 胃痛等等咯。当然呢，除了感冒之外呢，也有其他原因会让你不舒服啊，像是呢 allergy 过敏了，或者是呢 I am hungover 我喝太多酒了，我宿醉了。如果呢是宿醉啊，哎呀就不用担心了，多喝点水，多休息就好喽。
There you go. So they're filling out the form, but as they're doing this, Simon is kind of thinking back to maybe the last time he was sick.
Well, she asked him if he had any allergies, so he's remembering being in the UK, and he's sneezing, and his eyes are red, and it looks like he's crying.
Not
that
good.
sounds not very fun at all.
It's not fun, no.
If you've ever had something like that, or if you have something like that, particularly in the spring and the summer, you're about to find out what that is. Simon says, in the UK, I got hay fever in the summer.
Yeah.
So we call this hay fever. It's actually not a fever. It's a type of allergy, but it is the name of the allergy to pollen. And pollen is like what flowers, that little dust that flowers give off when they are ready to make.
Collect.
Yeah, when they're ready to make more flowers, and it gets all over in the air. You can't really see it, but if it gets in certain people's eyes and noses, they're really allergic to it, and it makes them just and eyes go red all the time.
Kind of just gives you a cold, just like that.
Yeah,
no
it's
fun.
Not fun at all. That's why some people really don't like spring.
Yeah. Well, I guess in Canada and Europe, it's more common because during the winter, all the flowers are gone, and then suddenly in the spring, they're all exploding all over the place. So hay fever can be a problem, but generally you take some medicine and you should be fine. Anyway, so back to where they are now at the hospital here in Taiwan. So Lucia writes on the form, so she probably writes down that he has hay fever and stuff like that. But then she asks him a really good question about how he's feeling at this moment. She says, "What are your symptoms now?" Okay, symptoms are basically the signs of your sickness. All right, so if I called you up and said, "Oh, I don't feel well, my nose is running, I got a sore throat, and I can't breathe through my nose," you might say, "Oh, you have a cold." It sounds like you have a cold because a running nose, a blocked nose, a sore throat, these are symptoms of a cold. When you visit the doctor, he'll say, "What's wrong?" And you'll say, "Oh, my ears are ringing. Oh, my head hurts. Oh, I can't eat anything." These are all the symptoms, and from hearing these things, the doctors will be able to sort of guess or figure out what you have. So, what are his symptoms? How is he feeling? What exactly is going on right now?
Right. Well, Simon starts getting into it. He says, "I feel terrible."
Okay, that's not really a symptom, but go on.
Well, it could be if you're feeling really tired. But anyway, we're going to get to that more in just a second. But he says, "My nose is running." My nose is running, which means he has water coming out of his nose.
No good.
And I keep sneezing like that. All right. So then our next word power word is this word he just said, terrible. I feel terrible. Terrible is an adjective spelled Terrible. Terrible. Let's find out what that means. All right, as you might have guessed, terrible means very, very bad. If you're feeling bad, you could say I feel terrible, or something could taste terrible if it's bad food. Or if you say to somebody, "That's terrible," that means that you feel very bad for them, or you feel bad about a situation. Another similar word we can use is horrible. They're almost the same, but maybe you'd use them in a little bit different situations, or maybe you'd use them for the same thing. All right, but then you have terrifying and terror, which are similar words to terrible, but they have a little different meaning. Terrifying and terror are words that are about being scared, but terrible just means very bad. So here's an example sentence. "I didn't come to work yesterday because I felt terrible." I didn't come to work yesterday because I felt terrible. Yeah, so sounds like Simon's feeling really bad because he's feeling terrible.
That's right. But at least he's able to talk about his symptoms, and this should help the nurses and the doctors figure out what's up. But anyways, they're still filling out this form with all the important information. Lucia, we see Lucia writes that down. Runny nose, and they finish the form. So that means basically they finish filling out or completing the form with all the information that they need to. And then Lucia says, "You can give the form to the doctor." So he'll walk into a little room and there'll be a doctor there and he'll hand it over. And that should have everything the doctor needs to begin helping Simon.
Right. I think usually the doctor would ask about his symptoms instead.
They might.
Yeah.
They'd read them too. It's always good to have it on paper.
That's true, that's true. All right, so next what they do is they walk to a large screen in front of the doctor's room. This sounds familiar. So Lucia says, "Put your health insurance card in here." There's this little slot, and she says, "Take your health insurance card, your 健保卡, and put it in here." So health insurance, as I just said in Chinese, is something you pay to make sure your health is protected and you don't have to pay lots of money to see a doctor. If you don't have health insurance, having a doctor visit could be very, very expensive.
That's right. But luckily, here in Taiwan, we do. So it's not too much money when you visit the doctor. All right, anyways, so the next picture we see is that Lucia is pointing to a slot under the screen. A slot is a thin, narrow opening in which you put things. A door might have a slot to put letters through the door. And of course, if you go to an ATM machine or basically anywhere where you use a credit card or a card of some kind, you often have to put it into a slot. It reads the card, you pull it out and take it with you. But that small gap, that small space that you put it into is the slot. So he gets his card out, he puts it in the slot. Why is he doing this? Well, Lucy explains, that tells the doctor you're here. It's kind of like checking in, right? You don't have to open the door, you just do that. It pops up on the computer inside and they say, oh, okay, patient number 44 has arrived and it will be your turn soon, hopefully. So Simon does that and I guess all they have to do now is wait.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Lucia says.
Right.
Now we just have to wait. And then Simon goes into the doctor's office when his number comes up.
Well, that was fast.
I know, very, very short wait.
Okay.
But later Simon comes out of the doctor's office because probably it's also fast. I mean, it's just, well, we're about to find out what has he got? Why is he sick? That sort of thing.
That's right. And if someone is coming out, if they're bringing news to you and you're excited and you really want to know the news, you want them to tell you, you might say what Lucia is saying. Well, it's like, well, ... Well, what did he say? Well, are you sick? Well, what do we have to do now? Tell me, I want to know.
Okay, well, Simon says, the doctor said I have a cold.
A cold.
A cold.
A cold.
That's it.
That's it.
He has a cold.
Well.
And if we don't know what a cold is, it's not this. But we're going to find out what is cold as a noun, C-O-L-D, cold. Let's find out what that is. Okay, so this word cold, as I said, it's not about feeling like your temperature is low. It's not about feeling your body is cold or if you have ice cream. A cold with A in front of it or having a cold is a small sickness that you've probably had a few times. Most people get it in their lives at least, maybe once a year even. It's pretty common. So when you have a cold, you cough, you sneeze, you might get a sore throat, your nose might run, and you might feel really, really tired. So that's what it's like to have a cold. If it gets worse than that, it might turn into the flu, but we're just talking about a cold, which is not that bad. So an example sentence of this might be, Rachel sounds different today because she's not feeling well. She has a cold. Rachel sounds different today because she's not feeling well. She has a cold.
All right, so now they know what's wrong. I guess they can get ready to get out of the hospital, head back home, and put Simon to bed. So Lucia says, okay, let's go and pay. So they're done with all the doctor visiting stuff, and now they have to pay. Yes, they have that health card, the health insurance, but you might have to pay a few $100s. So Simon, though, he looks a little bit surprised here. Was it about they can leave so quickly? Or about paying? But he seems confused, and so he says, huh? Yeah, another thing that you might say when you don't understand, and then he
sneezes.
He sneezes very loudly just to remind us all that he's still got a cold.
Yep.
All right, let's go to review time.
Wait for it. It's review time. 复习时间到喽。
All right, so for our review time today, we're going to play a short game of word association, which means that you have to think of a word from our word power words and you have to try and get me to guess it without saying the word.
Ah, okay. Yeah. So we'll find words sort of in the same family or in the same area or around the same topic. Remember our 4 words: doctor, form, terrible, and cold. Not feeling cold, but the sickness.
Yeah.
Cold. All right, who goes first?
I may as well go first.
All right. You're going to guess or you're going to...
I will make you guess.
You're going to make me guess. All right, I'm trying to figure out what word she's talking about, but she's not going to use that word.
Medicine.
Doctor.
It could have been one of two.
It could have been one of two.
It could have been cold as well, but it's doctor, you're right.
Could have been terrible as well. I guess some terrible tasting medicine, but no. Doctor or cold would be a good one. All right, let's see. Really not good.
Oh, terrible.
There you go.
Yeah, or cold.
Or cold, or a doctor that you don't want to visit again. But
or a form that's too long.
But terrible is, of course, the closest to really not good. All right, you guys, there's a couple examples. There's 2 more words, or you can try to, confuse your friends by trying some of the ones we already did, but in a more difficult way. Please come back tomorrow. Stay healthy, eat your vegetables, go to bed early, because tomorrow we're going to have more
Culture Shock
from Simon and Lucia.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Culture Shock!
A visit to the doctor.
Simon is in bed. Lucia comes into the room.
Simon, time to get up for work.
Lucia looks closely. Simon does not look well.
Are you okay?
I'm feeling a little iffy. I think I have the lurgy.
You'd better see a doctor.
They are at a hospital. They both have masks on.
First, you need to fill out a new patient form. Do you have any allergies?
In the UK, I got hay fever in the summer.
What are your symptoms now?
I feel terrible. My nose is running, and I keep sneezing.
Lucia writes that down. They finish the form.
You can give the form to the doctor.
They walk to a large screen in front of her doctor's room.
Put your health insurance card in here. That tells the doctor you're here. Now, we just have to wait.
Simon goes into the doctor's office when his number comes up. Later, Simon comes out of the doctor's office.
Well?
The doctor said I have a cold.
Okay, let's go and pay.
Huh? Word power!
Doctor. Doctor. I fell down yesterday and had to see a doctor. I fell down yesterday and had to see a doctor. Form. Form. Please take this form and answer the questions on it. Please take this form and answer the questions on it. Terrible. Terrible. I didn't come to work yesterday because I felt terrible. I didn't come to work yesterday because I felt terrible. Cold. Cold. Rachel sounds different today because she's not feeling well. She has a cold. Rachel sounds different today because she's not feeling well. She has a cold.
认识字汇
Symptom. Health insurance.